your source for pro wrestling and your place for modern rock. This is Third League. Rock and Wrestling Radio.
But I know we don't really talk WWE, but we got a couple of topics we are going to discuss because the first talent departure from the ID program has happened. It's less than a year old, and someone named, who is it? Freedom Ramsey. I've never heard of this person. Freedom Ramsey announced that he is no longer with the ID program. In his post, he said he wrestling on Evolve, training at the Performance Center, and just meeting everyone. In doing that, he learned, he grew, he developed. And he closed out by saying the same thing that every person says, the journey's far from over, which, I mean, good for him. I want him, he's a 6-year veteran, and I want him to...
They basically said, we don't see anything with you, bro.
Yeah, but I want every wrestler to do good as best as they can, but...
That's a cool name for the indies.
Well, the question I have to ask is, you're a 6-year veteran, you've been in this, you've studied this. If you really want to be a professional wrestler, you don't need to be in WWE. For years, they have said, we're not pro wrestling. I mean, just recently, Michael Cole, he said, we are not pro wrestling, and we haven't been for over 20 years.
Netflix understands that we're a storytelling entity first. Mm-hmm. We're not professional wrestling anymore. We haven't been for many years. We're an entertainment product.
People are seeing that now, though. If you look on the reviews of Double or Nothing, which we'll get into later, but everyone is saying that AEW is actually wrestling.
Well, yeah, but I guess that's what I want to get into is there was a certain generation, maybe this guy's from it, that grew up with just WWE. Now, you were lucky enough in your... because
there was always a second option. What do you mean?
If I wasn't your dad, would you have known about TNA? Would you have known about Ring of Honor? Would you have known about Nigel McGuinness?
Depends.
That's the thing. Most people are just casuals, and they're just like, here's WWE, and they turn it on for their kids.
TNA at its peak, I think, didn't they have like 2 million viewers on TV? Which was considered bad, but... Maybe,
but I'm saying, there is a generation where all they know of professional wrestling, quote-unquote, is WWE, so that's what they think wrestling is. When are they going to start listening to WWE when they say we're not professional wrestling? When are fans going to start listening? I mean, I know you've said you've seen it online, but when are the majority of fans going to start listening when they say they're not professional wrestling?
Their highest event had 4 million viewers the opening hour, which then dropped to 2.2 million. For a whole show, their highest was 1.45, so 1,450,000. There's a lot of people. Yeah, it would be possible.
No, it's not possible. It is. I'm saying.
There's always been another option.
For most kids in America, WWE was all they knew. You could talk about TNA and there'd just be blank stares. Huh? What's an Aces and Eight?
No one was watching Aces and Eights, dude.
Right, exactly.
And that's not the era I'm talking about.
You're talking about 2005, 2006, AJ Styles. You're talking about early TNA at its greatest time. That lasted all of maybe 2 years before Dixie Carter took it, before Hulk Hogan comes in, before Eric Bischoff comes in. That's what the majority of people of maybe this current generation know of TNA. That's their view of TNA. They don't have the view of TNA that we had of the triple threat match between Joe, AJ. Quit kicking me. They didn't have that TNA. They didn't see that TNA.
What, that match to crown the first X Division champion where you had Jerry Lynn, Super Crazy, AJ Styles, Low Key.
Yeah, it's a wonderful match. But see, that was actually in the first part of TNA when they had the square ring. Then they started using the 6 side, and then Hulk Hogan brought back the square. But yeah, I don't know. Hey, all the best to Freedom Ramsey, but people out there, you need to start listening to WWE when they tell you we're not pro wrestling.